Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All right, today's guests, including Farhan, standing by in Arizona, brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Giants take on Victoria, the Royals, Saturday night at the LEC. Puck drop at 7. Also, the Giants celebrate Family Day on Monday, February 20th, as they take on Spokane. Special 2 p.m. puck drop. I love those afternoon starts.
Oh, boy, do I ever.
Get your tickets now at vancouvergiants.com/tickets. We went on a large rant just before we get to Farhan. Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox. We went on a large anti-Toronto, how dare they lay us off 2 years ago today rant in the first segment. Nick in North Burnaby, Delaney's OK Tire rant. And yet, Rick, you're a fan of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, stop
You've
it.
often worn that. You've often worn that Blue Jays jersey in here.
My love for the Blue Jays goes back to the 80s, not now. I hate the suits in Toronto, but the Blue Jays, that's the only thing in Toronto I like.
Take it easy here because we know who Farhan works for. Joining us from TSN, Farhan Lalji. He's at Super Bowl 57. Sunday, it's the Chiefs versus the Eagles. Farhan, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, boys. A lot better than last year's Super Bowl because I did your show from my hotel balcony in Marina Del Rey, but I had COVID. So, the balcony is as close as I got to the sun. So this is a lot better. And, I go back to my first Super Bowl. So this is 15, 18 years ago, and it was in Jacksonville. It was Philadelphia and New England. It was Brady's second Super Bowl win. And we were staying truly at the equivalent of a Motel 6, an hour outside of Jacksonville. And it was a city that had they just didn't have the infrastructure to properly host an event like that. We were getting cabs that had to come in from Atlanta to get us to where we were, and people were getting arrested outside our hotel room. We were down on ground floor, literally, because it was a Motel 6 type, and the cars were coming there. So right now we're at the Renaissance across the street from the stadium in Glendale.
Oh, nice.
We're actually going to take a golf cart to the stadium. So we've come a long way. I got the cornhole game in the background. Lots of good stuff here.
Yeah. If you're taking a golf cart?
Literally, we are that close to the stadium. We are across the street. And we're going to take a golf cart to go to the stadium Sunday and to do our hits today. I might even go to Waste Management to the golf tournament.
Okay, Rasmus Anderson would like to recommend a scooter. But, anyway, that's another story. I don't know if you've heard about it. Hey, I'm looking at your Twitter feed. Okay, your Twitter account. How many CFL types do you run into at a Super Bowl? Davis Sanchez is there. Jeff Reinbold, yourself, all sorts of people.
Well, for sure. I mean, Davis is working for us, and Jeff Reinbold, who works for Sky Sports in the offseason. And then Marcus Brady, who was a coach in the CFL and a quarterback in the CFL, is now in the NFL. He was the offensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts to start this year. They made some coaching changes, so he finished the year with Philadelphia. But there's a lot of those guys. I mean, there's just so much, cross-pollination between these two leagues, a lot more than people realize, or in some cases, if you're not a CFL fan, willing to accept. But there's a lot of guys whose paths have crossed in the CFL, and it's like all sports, right? The fraternity is small. You don't need to go through too many levels before you find somebody on either side.
Farhan, are we hearing enough about Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts being the first two black quarterbacks to meet in the Super Bowl?
I don't know. I think so. I probably think it's the right amount, right? I mean, for some people who think that they don't want to be a part of any woke discussion, you probably think it's too much, but the truth is that the color barrier as far as quarterbacks was broken some time ago, right? And, we've seen a black quarterback in Doug Williams win a Super Bowl, and for people who went through it, right, like Warren Moon, and he and I have had discussions on this, that it means something to them, and it's allowed to mean something to them. And the fact that we have two in the Super Bowl is a milestone, and it's nice, but it's not as big as the first one who made it and the first one who won it, right? And Mahomes has also won one himself. So, I'm for that type of conversation. I think when you can go back and look at what the league has gone through and just generally change, it's not necessarily going back to a time of negativity. It just allows you to celebrate the positive. And so I don't mind having that conversation.
Is it a sign of progress that we're not talking about it as much? Do you know what I'm
Yeah, I think
getting
so.
at?
I think it's a good thing. And there's some people that are just going to want to bring it up because it's a storyline, and that's fine. But there's bigger storylines in the game. And, we've seen signs of progress when Lamar Jackson got taken in the first round and when, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl. And, we've seen black quarterbacks succeed. We've seen the barriers get taken down long ago. So the fact that two of them are in the Super Bowl is a good thing, but it's not as significant as maybe some of the other steps along the way.
Yep.
We're going to have Vernon Adams, the new quarterback of the BC Lions, on today, Farhan.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little chit-chat with him. Your thoughts on him taking over from Nathan Rourke, free agency in the CFL. You've already reported the Lions got another quarterback coming to town for Montreal as well. So talk a little bit about all that.
Yeah, I think more than anything, Vernon needs to be given the right chance, right? Trying to follow up what Nathan Rourke did last year, that's a tough ask for any quarterback, like any quarterback. So I think you got to gauge Vernon based the rest of the quarterbacks in the league as opposed to just a remarkable season last year by Nathan Rourke. And I think this team can win with Vernon. I think Vernon can play entertaining football. I go back to 2019, and he was one of the bright stories in the league, just the way he played and what he and Kahari Jones and others were able to get done in Montreal. I think those were great stories. And I think Vernon is capable of playing that way, right? Again, he comes in last year and you compare him to Nathan Rourke and you think he's just not good, but he was 4-2 as a starter. And it's hard to get dropped in as a quarterback midway through a season. So now he gets an entire offseason to work with Jordan McSimic, learn the playbook. They can work around his strengths, and then he'll have a full training camp. And the other thing Vernon's done the last couple of years is he's held his own passing camp, like his own OTA, bringing guys in, his receivers, right? And so if he does something like that this year again, a further sign of his commitment and just how good of a leader and teammate he is. So I'm on the VA train. I think BC can win and continue to progress with him.
All right, Canucks Islanders, Bo Horvat night. Boy, it's going to be emotional for him. He's already done an interview this morning saying, boy, it's going to be tough playing the Canucks
Well, we wouldn't
tonight.
know about that interview, actually.
Ryan hasn't chopped it up yet. Listen, Horvat, Canucks, what are you expecting tonight?
Just that, right? And certainly the emotion would be heightened even that much more if the game was here, right? The fact that it's in Long Island makes it a little bit easier for him. But, it'll be weird for him to go against those guys, see them in the other side and warm up, having to hit one of them, being hit by them. I don't think it's going to lead to a lot of additional physicality or anything like that because, I do think there's love and nothing else. But it'll be different for him. And I'm glad he's already scored his goal. I'm glad he's been so well received, right? I mean, he's had some pretty good ovations on Long Island. His teammates love having him. So it's good. It's just one more step of closure. And I'm happy for him that he's got the contract and he's got the money and he's got what he's deserved.
Also, looking at your Twitter account, you focused a lot on LeBron James becoming the NBA's all-time leading scorer. Is he the greatest player? And we're jumping all over the place here, Farhan. Is he the greatest player? Is he the greatest player in NBA history?
He's close, and for me, he's number 2. I'm still at MJ as the GOAT guy. To be honest, deep down, I kind of have Kobe as number 2 and LeBron as number 3, but I'm still a huge fan. And I say that because it is so rare that an athlete has that level of expectation. Like, I don't think when LeBron was coming out of high school, that social media, which wasn't around 20 years ago, I don't think that could have brought more hype to LeBron James. He was that hyped. His high school team was playing on ESPN at Madison Square Garden. There were magazines, like LeBron magazines. He'd been on SI's cover multiple times. For a guy like that to come in, and whether he's 1, 2, or 3, and you can make the case for 1, and I'm not going to tell you you're crazy if you think he's 1. For a guy to be in that conversation with that level of expectation, like how many people do we see that come in and they have all this expectation and they wind up flopping? And don't tell me a hockey player, because that's small A attention when you come in, whether you're Gretzky, Crosby, McDavid, or Bedard. It's not the same because basketball is a global game. So for him to get that level of attention coming in and living up to it, because 1, 2, or 3, you have lived up to that with all the pressure and everything on you. I think it's incredible what he's done. I love the fact that he's also using his platform to do good, right? The I Promise School and things like that. Like, he's made a difference that other athletes just refuse to try to make. So for all those reasons, even though I don't think he's the GOAT, I'm a fan.
Yep. What I got out of that is that you're anti-hockey.
Yeah, I did too.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
No, I know
hockey,
you're right.
But one country cares.
Yeah. Well, there's more than one. No, come on.
Okay, but in terms of big platforms and that, it's not the same, right? I mean, look, I'm an NFL guy.
I'm just
And
bothered. I'm
sorry,
just
let me take
bugging you.
that back. I'm a
just
football
bugging you.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm a football guy, and football cannot compare to the global reach the NBA has. So for him to have that and to live up to it, I think is pretty impressive.
Who wins Sunday? As I bounce around some more.
Boy, you know what? I'm glad since we're here, we're going to talk NFL at some point. But I'm picking Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Right. I'm picking Philadelphia. I'd like to see Kansas City win, and I like to see greatness live up to it, as you can tell by my LeBron commentary. So I want that for Patrick Mahomes. I don't want to be here in a dozen years and we say he only won one Super Bowl, right? For all the talent and the accolades, and he is the face of the NFL. So I want him to get more. I want him to push that envelope and get closer to Brady at some point, because I just love the way this guy plays the game. He's so entertaining. But I do think that outside of quarterback and tight end, and as good as Kansas City is, Philadelphia is better everywhere else, right? Like, they are better. They're better in the trenches. They're better on defense. It's just too hard for me to pick against Philadelphia because of the completeness of that team. But I hope Mahomes finds a way.
We didn't work baseball into this. We basketball, football, hockey. We touched CFL.
Waste management. I could go to goal.
Gymnastics.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff to touch
But like
on.
you said, that's why we have you on, Farhan. You're so versatile. Have a great time down there, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care, boys.